Well, it looked good when you guys were using it.
It was great.
Oh yeah, I still use it. I love it.
I mean, it's a great concept, and it worked. It worked really well. It continues to work well enough for how inexpensive the brokerage is, but still, it's like, man, I can only take so many what do we call it? That one shit destroys 1,000 attaboys. Well, they've cooked off many more attaboys than that in my book. So it's like I hate saying something like that, but it's like,
There's your 382.
it is what it is.
It's the truth.
Come on, man, you didn't fill me. Come on, I was literally a penny away.
Fill me up.
So that way in the money call credit spread, it keeps dipping to like 96 cents. So
Does that song say "Why don't you fill me up" or does it say "Build me up"? I don't remember.
build me up, Buttercup,
Yeah,
Don't
well, we're
break
gonna
my
have
heart.
to say "Fill me up."
right? Why don't you fill me up, my option order, baby, like you say you will.
Who was that? That was Jeremy singing, yeah?
That was me.
Yeah, yes, that was Jeremy
Yeah,
singing.
I was going to say, Stone, that wasn't you, was it?
No,
I'm more of a. I have
I'm
a pretty
baritone.
broad range voice, but I'm more of a tenor than I guess a baritone.
I am a baritone, and I have a large range. I can go very low. I can do bass.
I
But
can.
all these songs that I was, having to try to sing in front of the band, I'm like, man, forget this. I ain't fronting the band no more.
All right, I got filled at 32.
play guitar.
So hopefully this continues to decay.
I can do baritone when I have a cold. Oh man. So
Guys, sorry, guys. Earlier you were saying that your the two time scales you were using for futures was a sort of 1 minute and a 5 minute time scale, 5 minute chart. How long do you stay in the trades on average for a futures trade?
that varies on momentum. So I've had some trades where I'm in and out in like 5-10 seconds. Other trades I'm out in like 15-20 minutes. Yeah, it just depends on the momentum. If it's huge momentum like this bearish breakover, I would be swinging in and out of this probably in an average hold time of couple minutes or so.
So when you're trading futures, you're not trading price, you're trading momentum then, yeah?
Well, you're trading price action, but you got to do it fast. So if I'm using the 1 and 5 minute charts, I'm actually trading the 10-second chart. And in some cases, I was trading a 1 second chart. So I'm looking for exactly when those price swings break over that are setting up on the 1 and 5 minute chart, but I'm trading them on such a short term chart that I'm looking for just the quick little move on that 1 and 10 second chart. Like here, I would expect this 1 minute chart to come back and retrace this channel here, and shoot for like 383 for a quick 50% retracement. So I would have taken that trade long right here.
Why do you even bother looking at the 5 minute chart then?
Because it gives me an idea of where the trend is. So like here we had that breakover.
I got you.
We exceeded the Globex low. We did break it. Now we're coming back and testing it for resistance. And this will tell me where the trend's likely to be. So we've got, also it's much easier to see your measured moves on the 5 minute chart. Like you can see this was a leg. There's your consolidation. This is a half leg. And if it continues to build into that full leg measured move, 381 is the target.
Are you on YouTube?
Yeah. Hi, YouTube.
Okay, good. So
this is a recording.
Yeah, so the 1 and the 5. So the 5 gives you that smooth action, but you can also enter in on the 5 when you're trading the futures or anything. But the futures, I use the 15 as well, because that gives me a good sense of like I said, every day there's usually a shift, and it usually happens between 12:50 and 1:30.
You can find
that 15 will help you see it, especially with the wicks.
Yep, you can find candle for candle on the 15. You'll see exactly where you can expect a reversal to be. Like you'll see those morning star setups, evening star setups. Sometimes you'll see it set up and pretty much confirm or deny a bar spin or bar. That's very common on a 15-minute chart, and I do enjoy using the 15-minute chart for that. but most of my trade times take place in literally holding from like 1 to 5 minutes most of the time. So I'm like looking at the 15-minute chart here, like, okay, we've got a potential bar spinner bar, and it sets us up, for a push down as low as like 380. But if I look at it on the 5-minute chart, I've already got the measured move for those bars here anyway. I just need to see this as a bar instead of seeing this as a few candles.
And then when you see that, you can make your entries and exits based on where the 1 minute is.
Correct.
And you can subdivide that then into the 10 second and the 1 second as well, yeah?
Exactly.
It's like music. You just subdivide.
Oh, you're talking to the least musical person in the world now.
Oh, you're from Europe. They teach y'all music in school, don't they? As a kid.
Yeah, they also taught me French, and I don't speak French either.
Meld.
But yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Right, okay, I'm just trying to get the general gist of why you were doing it, but you're sort of subdividing it really within candlesticks and bars into trends, isn't it?
Correct. And it's
Thank
just,
you.
no matter what time frame you're trading, there'll be two other time frames that you can confirm data over. And that's exactly what I do. So if I'm trading the 10 second, I'm going to confirm data on the 1 and 5. If I'm trading a 1 minute, I'm going to confirm data on the 5 and 15. You
did something about this, didn't you? Trending within time scales, and you've put is it in your place? Did you put it up there?
I don't know that it did. I actually worked on a video yesterday. It didn't come out like I wanted it to, so I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to go over the 4 time frames, the 4 grid screen that I use for different time frames, because I like to keep 2 1-minute charts, and I like to keep a 5-minute, and then I like to keep a 5 and a 15-minute with I use different things.
Because when you subdivide it, that applies to all types of trading, not just futures, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do the same thing. Now, pennies are a little different, but you can still do it with pennies. You can, matter of fact, sometimes with the penny stocks, you can see the trend better on a 5-minute than you can a 1, because of all the wicks that you sometimes get on a 1-minute chart. But yeah, you can do the same thing. And the same with the larger time frame, like a 2-hour. You go look at a 2-hour, the daily, and then the 2-hour that Jeremy's always talking about. I go look at the 2-hour to find what it's telling me. Does it look bullish? Does it look bearish? Where is it compared to its pivots?
Right.
So it's smoothing out the trend really to make it a bit more obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, or you can go counter trend too, and you can see all of that in there. That's the cool thing about price action, is you don't have to just go with the trend.
Right.
So Jeremy, if this candle doesn't push down at all, then we're still in an indecision state, the 1 minute?
Right. So I'm looking at the 1 minute. I've got, we've got our consolidation. This is the first leg of our measured move, and we've confirmed that with a 5-minute chart. We expected this little descending channel. I didn't mark the channel, but I know where the retracement target is. Nailed it. Now we'll have a decision time. Either we break that and run to 100% back to 380, 350, or we break over here and reject this and run back down. So like we made a full leg and a half leg. It bounced off of the second deviation here. And you can see it was actually the first deviation on the 5-minute chart, but right to that 382 pivot. Even though it wicked to 381.85, it did break the Globex low. It didn't do it convincingly enough yet. So I'm looking for, if I see this 50% retracement reject here, and heck, it just made another rising channel out of it, my next target would be 382.35.
And if we go with a 50% retracement from the high to the low, the current high of the day to the low, then we're about 384.23.
Right.
The cool thing about yesterday is if you go look at yesterday's price action and you study it on any chart, it is a great bear day, and you can really see those pullbacks, and some of those pullbacks were ugly, but you can see them, and you can see when price breaks back over. But really, the last few days have been really great for some price action study.
Oh yes, it's been a perfect textbook examples of like everything we talk about.
Yeah. Like right now, on these last 1 minute candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, the ones before this candle forming right now, they look like it's the trend is weakening, or that bull trend is weakening, that little, bull move or whatever,
Right.
because of those wicks on top, and it's giving that rounding look. So see what this candle does. It started to open as a hammer, but the candles twitch. If you
All
look at
over
some
the
of the
place.
feeds on Jeremy's, if you watch, like, if you don't have the replay, you go back and watch the feeds, the replays, and you can see, like, when he has his 5-minute candle, you can see like it'll start off looking bearish, and then before it's done, it's a freaking bull candle.
Yep.
So that's why you have to wait for these candles to close before you make decisions, because in just 10 seconds, that big bear candle or bull candle can switch into a big, into the opposite, animal with a big wick. In just 10 seconds. After 5 minutes, you're sitting there, well, we're going to go bearish. We're going to go bearish. 10 seconds before it closes, bam, it switches.
Yep.
So and Sig was going on about that yesterday, and he in his video he made, and he was absolutely right. You have to wait for those candlesticks to close.
Yeah, you can't just jump in on them, because sometimes,
Each over.
you'll get exactly that. You'll get a candle that looks like it's going to break. Like here, we had that wick through. For a second, that was a bar, and then it just boop, bopped right off with a wick, closed right on the standard mean deviation, and bounced. So it didn't achieve that 50% retracement from this little rising channel here.
And right now, that red candle, went right to angular support, I think, and wicked into it. And then we got that bullish engulfing. So even with those wicks to the left, it's still defending an area. This 383 to 383, 383.03 to 383.30 area that I have marked out. That's a pivot in a previous VWAP, and it's using it right now. It's battling that area.
Yeah.
It's that's where it's retesting that to see if it's going to be resistance or support. So I'm still waiting before I get back into a trade at this point. I'm waiting to see if we break back over or not.
Yeah, I'm hanging
Somebody
out
who could do 10 seconds or 5 seconds, they probably already scalped that thing 3 times.
Yeah, I would have. And then also, I'm loving this standard deviation channel on.
It's
on
great,
Webull
isn't it?
That's been added. Look at this, the 5-minute center mean right there. Bam.
Isn't that great?
I wanted to scalp those, but I'm being more disciplined now.
Good.
Yeah, it's you got to try to stay focused on your trade plan and stop looking at every squirrel that runs by.
Well, I find that if you try to scalp so much, like, it ends up taking away from your profits, and
Yeah, you end up over trading, and it does eat you.
Yeah, slow and steady.
That's it. Trade small, trade often, and just wait for your breaks. Don't jump in the setup. It's no good being in the setup.
And
So if
there's a
this
whole
candle closes
Go ahead.
down, we are breaking then, right? And if it closes down to that standard deviation line, because then we would have broken both of the green control candles.
Right.
But
then
actually, it's
yeah.
rejecting. Like, come on, man.
it's
Do your thing.
gotta first get through that 50% retracement of this little rising channel right here, and it's just kind of teasing it right now. This will
That
be
is
where
a
I'd
bearish
expect.
engulfing on the 5.
This is
And-
where I'd expect the setup to break.
Yeah.
It's gotta close a bar through that 382.50 with some conviction. And I chugged the coffee this morning. I hate to just sign up on
Taking coffee.
YouTube here
I'll be.
and then
Well,
have
go
to
ahead.
take a break. I'll give it a minute. I can cross my legs for a while.
I was going to say I was going to go grab some coffee, but I'll stop if you want and just rattle my mouth for a little while.
My camera is like picking up the sunbeams coming through my window, and it's like got this big old blinding white spot on my.
I still have to figure out. So the chat. I'm still learning Discord. This is terrible. So the chat in Discord to the right.
Yeah. Is there comments in there? I haven't looked.
There's a few.
Oh, hey. Let's see here. Actually, that was from yesterday, so we're good.
I sometimes forget to look at the chat.
I do too.
I'm kind of a one-track mind. Oh, Sig's in there making it happen.
Yeah. All right, here's our make it or break it. We have a potential morning star right here. That's right on that standard deviation line. That's playing. We either get a bar spinner bar right down to the second standard deviation, or we bounce here. Give us some pretty price action. That's what we want.
Yes, we do want pretty price action.
Give me a short-term trend to scalp, and I will scalp it appropriately. I still can't believe I got that credit spread open for 99 cents. That's so epic.
Freaking awesome.
All right, chart. What do we got?
So you'll open spreads like in the first 15 minutes or the first few minutes sometimes.
I
When
tried.
you see you tried, you couldn't get one, huh?
Yeah, I tried to open that 382, 381 credit spread, 0-day credit spread, but it just didn't fill. And even then, like I said, Robinhood has a habit of just auto liquidating those if it's an assignment risk. So I gotta be careful. I gotta make sure I have a limit order to close it on the board, and then I'll get a notification that the order's been canceled just before they go and try to flip it on me, and then I can adjust that order real stinking quick sometimes and catch it anyway. But I've got to be very active on that. All right.
Make a low. Where was the pre-market? Yeah. So this is what's happened. Remember I said when you get to not that I said it, once price gets to any level, it'll sometimes battle it. And
Right.
so we blew past that Globex low, but you see we've come back to it. And if you look at the 5-minute chart, that little doji looking thing right now is right in line with the the doji from the pre-market on the MES particularly. That is the pre-market low or
Right.
the Globex low.
That's
So
right
let me
at
go.
5:50 this
Running the
morning.
breakout.
Yeah,
Here it
but
comes. Some bulls
you
are trying
still
to take it.
gotta they gotta overcome that bearish engulfing.
Yeah, they got to break 383 with conviction.
And they're walking the pivot at what's that, 382.50.
Yep.
Another pivot. That's the pivot that I see on the 5-minute chart on SPY.
Yeah, that 382.50 is solid. I should draw it. See if I can get it.
It's
do what I
almost
want.
like sometimes price will do this thing where it's like it's sitting on a line. It's sitting on a price line. Becomes
Right.
a bench, and you'll see like 2 or 3 candles and their butts are just sitting on that line. A little gap up on this one.
So this would be what, test number 2 since we fell below it?
This is weird. Why am I seeing this? Oh. You know what? Let me fix this.
Almost looks like a double bottom on
I
the
hit
1.
350 instead of 382.50.
So your resistance.
Yeah,
Going to be
close
around
enough.
that 383.06 area. If that's a double bottom, it's got to break that.
Yeah, here's that resistance you're talking about right here. Just gotta line that out.
Yep. There it is. You just got to look left. Look left, Toppets.
That's it. Bam! Now it'll show up on my 5-minute chart.
So that wick into that area. So we have to see it's another, that's selling pressure on that red candle on the SPY or the MAS.
It's got about 4 minutes to 11 o'clock. Typically 11 o'clock does some fun stuff.
Yep.
Got the VIX breaking down. The dollar is climbing though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dollar,
That's why, to me, sometimes just that's why I like to just look at the candles,
Yep.
because you can get for me, I can get too much information, and it causes analysis paralysis.
Right.
So that's why I've just been breaking it down to the candles, because they sing the melody.
That's it. That KAL, by the way, is finally making its move back to 8 cents. It's already made it.
Oh, it is. I saw it earlier, and it looked like doo-doo.
And I had my limit order set at, I think I might have had it at 8.5 cents. Damn it. Oh well.
Your CORZ looked like it's trying to do a little move here.
Some of those pennies we mess with, man, they just make some epic moves in percentage.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I can't decide which side to be on for this compression. Like, should I be on the upside? Should I be on the downside?
Wait it out unless you can conquer
Out.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you went and did in the money put credit spreads and in the money call credit spreads on a 0 day, it's weird. If you can get them to fill at that 98 cent level, both of them, that turns into a very interesting trade, because one is going to expire worthless or the other, unless price stays between them. And if you can get them close enough together within the deviation range on the daily chart, you can actually pull it off. But if you look at the deviation on the daily, we're already at the second deviation. So that's where you're kind of like, is it worth it? Like chances are that one that I sold deep in the money, probably going to burn me, but for all of $1.
Ouch.
But if it doesn't burn me, I get some serious credit.
So, are you there, Victoria?
Yep.
Okay. Let me see. You can see SPY, huh?
SPY, yeah.
All right, let me go see something here on SPY. I'm looking at the MES, which is basically the same. All right, so SPY, if you look at SPY on a 30-minute chart, okay, you'll see that right now we've got 1 minute left on this candle. Now, if that candle hammers with that green hammer, it closes with a little smaller wick on top, but even if it closes at that green hammer where it is right now, then that's a possibility that the next candle is going to be green and it's going to be a morning star. Not saying it is,
Right.
but that's on a 30-minute chart. So I'm watching to see, because that level on that chart right now, that looks like it's trying to hold that Globex low. And if it does, then it could bounce up.
Then we set
I
up a morning
see.
star.
You see that? And then on
Yeah.
a 15-minute chart, it looks even different. So on a 15-minute chart, it looks different. And if you look at that 15-minute chart, and it's going to close here in a second, but you'll
Tweezer
see,
top.
you'll see it inverted. You see the 3 green bars, or 2 green bars from the open, big red bar, and then you get that next red bar, which is an inverted hammer.
Yep.
And then you get a hammer, and it's at the same level. The next candle that just closed actually closed. The body is about the same, is slightly higher maybe than the previous green candle. Yes, it did. So, it's a possibility that this is going to hold here. And so it's wise, if you're looking to get in on something like that, it's wise to wait. And then I can go down and I can look at my 5-minute candle chart, and it gives me some information, and I can see where prices just walk the line at 382.50, if you will. And now, it looks like it's trying to go back above that 383.03 pivot. So I can go to my 1-minute chart now, and I can look at it and say, that looks like that might have been a double bottom.
Yep.
So if we can get back across 383.50 and hold it, then we might be bullish, and this might be a reversal.
So you're basically using different time charts to confirm is it making a bullish candlestick move? Is it on all three charts to sort of get the general trend of bullish or bearish, yeah?
Right.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But
Oh,
the
I
larger
see.
time frame gives me, like when I get close to, that's why Sig is always preaching, watch the clock, watch the clock. I do, I'll watch the clock. And when you get to those quarter hours, 15, 30, 45 on the hour, it something usually happens, and you can see, like, what's the pattern happening here. It's not necessarily I'm looking for a candlestick pattern. That it's not necessarily I'm looking for a double bottom or anything, but I'm looking for candle, and then I go back and I see what's happening to the left, and I say, oh, that is one big red bar. So does that mean we're going to fill it back up, because that was a quick red bar? And sometimes when you have those big bull or bear bar movements, depending upon where it is in the trend and what's going on, sometimes it's like Sig said once, it's like a vacuum cleaner or vacuum, and
Right.
and price will get sucked right back up or right back down. So you keep it. It's just a matter of watching the different time frames and getting an idea of, oh, okay, like you said, what's the sentiment? And so that's how I do it. That's how it helps me, and that's what I've been observing since I did it. I threw away the books, because this market's not. Those books were written in a different market.
Yep.
Yeah, so because obviously, like, getting a bullish or bearish sentiment in a bullish market was easy, wasn't it? Because we were just kept going up, and then recently we're in a sort of bearish market with like bear rallies in it, so you don't know what the sort of general trend of the market is. So you just have to go by price action over a smaller time frame, yeah.
Well, I do. Yes, I do.
I'll be right back,
Uh,
guys.
there,
Yeah,
there,
sounds like a good plan.
yeah. There are different ways. That there are different ways to trade, different methods to trade, and so for me, yeah, I try to keep it simple, Stone, and I try to break it down to the simplest thing that I can follow, and I find that to be candlesticks, not necessarily candlestick patterns, although I look for those candlestick patterns, because candlestick patterns have to be in context. But if you can follow along the candles, and again, I look at the wicks. Where are the wicks? And then you look left, and when you see a whole bunch of wicks wicking into an area, oh, that's a pivot. That's an area that I need to watch. If price is below it and it's coming up to it, that's going to be resistance. So, yeah, it's a bit complex, but it's simplistic at the same time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the wicks thing. I've worked out where pivot levels usually round about the the 80 or the 50, or when it's like an obvious sort of point, a pivot point, isn't it? It does sort of wick up to it, wick down to it, and then it decides what to do after a while.
Correct. Now, if you look at this pattern that's forming here, that we have on the 5-minute chart, say the SPY. Oh, he's got the SPY 5-minute up there. Okay, so if you look at the pattern that's forming there, if you look, we're in a bear trend, right? But the green candles aren't as big as the red candles, and the last two green candles didn't even get past really that tweezer top. If you look on Jeremy's chart, let me see, because it always looks a little different. If you look at his chart and you look at or if you look at your own chart and you look at the 1045 and the 1040 candle, that's where we had that, I think one was a bearish engulfing candle. The bodies of those next candles, the 1, 2, 3, the two greens and that red, they're still within the bodies of those two candles, especially that red one. So, my morning star might not, on a 30-minute, might not happen. But
on the
I'm
5-minute, we're in a wedge now, right? I mean, it's compressing.
Yeah, you are in a wedge. You are in a wedge there as well. You
so
sure are.
That one, we have
And
to
it
wait
looks
until
like
it completes so we know which way to break to.
But it looks like a bear pennant.
It does, and so I'm expecting it to break down, and I'm hoping that it does because I'm actually already positioned in that way a little bit. So.
And then where did this next candle open, and where is it coming down to, and what level is it going to hit? So if you go back to the picture I put up in chat, let me go back and see. It was a little while ago. I put a picture up somewhere.
Oh, Sig is saying that it's actually a failure setup.
Failure for what?
The bear pennant.
All right, so if you go back to that picture I put up earlier, you'd have to go scroll through it. You'll see that, I had the Globex low kind of marked out with a shadow box. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're in that area deciding what we're going to do. So for me right now on the 5-minute chart, I'm not making a decision. I'm not trading based on the 5-minute chart.
When he says that it fails, that means he's saying that it's going to go to the downside, right?
I don't know.
I'm trying to read the article on the failed bear flag thing. It looks like it pops to the upside.
Oh, looks like he's got it going both ways. He's got both arguments. Looks like I can't. I'm not a multitasker like Sig, so I can't. I tend not to look at the chat too much. And I also don't like. I've learned to. This is not a slam to anybody. I do this with Jeremy and everybody. I have to trust my technical analysis. I have to be confident in what I see. I can't be confident in what I see and then have somebody else say something different, and then I change my position because I've done that before and I've gotten hurt. So I have to go by what I see and what I see alone. So this is just giving you my view on things. So it's a different style of trading. But I'm going to wait and see. Right now we're close to that Globex low, and I've got what looks like a weak pullback on a bear channel. But if you look at the 1-minute chart, you go back to the 1-minute chart and you look at the 1-minute chart that we have up in Jeremy's feed. If you see that, Jeremy, can you scroll out a little bit more on your chart so we can see the open
Yeah, on the 1 minute.
on the 1-minute?
I have to scrunch it a little bit.
Scrunch a little bit. You see, this looks just like a pullback in a bear channel. Is all it looks like to me right now.
Right.
But it's walking pivot levels, and so it's not a time to trade. We got to wait. And this is what I told Jeremy the other day. I said this is beginning. SPY is starting to remind me of penny stocks.
Yes, it's moving.
It's moving like a penny stock. You get the big move in the open in the beginning, and then you get sell off and then sideways. You go look at the penny stocks that we've put up, some of the pictures I put up before and some of the plays I put up. You go to Stone's Place or Stone's Courses. Everybody can have access to those. Hopefully we can get that in Discord soon. But you see that this is kind of like a penny stock setup. It very similar. So this looks like just a bear flag with a pullback right now.
You get those textbook price action plays, and it's just awesome. Here's 382.50.
Yep, there he goes. So right now, that morning star that I was seeing on the half-hour chart ain't looking too good.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have yourself a great weekend, and good luck in the market today.
You too, man. Thanks again. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you all Monday, and I'll probably sign off the YouTube channel here in about 5 minutes. So if you're hanging with us on YouTube, thanks for hanging with us. We do this every day, and we walk through every little detail of what we're seeing in the trading day, and then we're also here to answer questions. So even on our YouTube channel, I mean, you're not paid members, but throw a question in the comments. We'll talk to you.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see.
And what I love about price action is price action you can trade and you can trade in any market.
Oh yes.
And you can even in this crazy market, you can still trade price action. And if you do candle for candle, you can using the larger time frames and then using your entries and exits on this 1 minute. When you see the setup happening on the larger time frame, you can get ready for it and go, okay, I see it, and then you can enter on the 1 minute.
Yep.
And the futures, I love the futures. They're great.
All right, so it looks like it blasted through that 382.50. We've got a break. First target's going to be 382 even. And if it crushes 382, we set up for a big old bearish move, guys.
Yep, you do.
And,
380, 185 is another pivot on a 1 minute chart. So you expect it to, well, that's the low. So you expect it to pause there.
yep, I'm
or
totally
blow through
expecting
it.
a pause here. And if it does print a bar through that 382, man, I'm going to be stoked. There he goes. Close that bar. Give me a bar. 382. Come on.
And actually, the buy signal would have on the 5 minute chart would have been the last. Well, on the MES, it looks different.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta stretch your candles out a little bit,
Right.
just to make sure you're seeing it right.
All right. We're through first deviation. Second deviation's right there. There's that angular again, that skewed angular.
So there it is. You know, we were talking about that
love that.
earlier. So far, I mean, we haven't blown past it. You could really get a double bottom here at 380.
You could easily.
At 381, 85. You know, that's still a possibility.
Yeah. If that starts to show up, then you better close all your short positions because it will burn you fast.
That's not a short position. That's just a position that's bad.
Right.
So you look at that 5 minute chart, and that was simply a bear pennant, basically. Would I be wrong in that, Mr. Price Action Man? That was you, Diamond J.
Sorry, my wife heard a noise and she was getting my attention. Say that last part again. I was kind of halfway listening. Sorry.
I said, so basically what we had there on the 5 minute chart was a bear pennant.
It's looking like a bear pennant on the 5 minute chart. If you blow it up, you can see it
It's
better.
looking pretty wild on a 1.
But it can also flip right into a little double bottom.
Yes, it can.
And our R1 is already marked for us. We got that resistance level. We've already hit it once.
Yep.
We come back. This is S2. So support and resistance RS. So S2, usually you get a play right off that sucker and a bounce right back to R1. And what happens afterwards is where you're concerned. So if you want to trade bullish for a retracement of this descending channel here, you got to figure out where your targets are. Well, we had the megaphone. That's already there. All we got to do is extend that line. There's your bull target, right about 380, 375. Only if it gets above R1. And that's the first target bar in the 5 minute chart.
There it is.
We're right at it. There it goes. Now,
That's
next
big
move.
push.
You're looking at your price targets on a 1 minute chart. First is 383.38, top of the wick of this guy here. Extension would be to the next support or next previous support level, and that's where you get that 383.60 or 383.75 from.
Now you went with 380. What did you do? What was that first top of the what wick? Show me that wick.
On the 1 minute chart, it's right there. This little pair right here, the wick.
Ah, yes. I see, and that's where it's coming.
Yep.
It's out, stopped right below it.
And every time you see that, and that's why I got excited when Webull decided to give us deviation channels. You'll see the deviation channel is right there. It'll angle, whatever the angle is, doesn't matter. Know where that line is. That's where your pause point is, and it paused right to it with that candle.
Did.
Now we're hitting the extension. Where's the extension? The wick, right here, these two guys. If it rejects there with a wick, you know to go short. Or even up here.
Right where those moving averages are. Back on your friend, that 383.75. Is that what you said?
Right, 383.75.
Yep.
That'd be where the expected move would be. But that's where the bull target is. And if the bulls
That's-
fail,
that-
the bears will
yeah.
take it over, and they'll sell to that. They'll sell right into that.
That is about right where the 20 and my 15 meet. On the left, right where those two candles were. You said.
So I got a question in the chat here. Would you mind helping out this options newbie with the risk of... Oh, you're not going to upset me.
Good. I'm going to be right back.
Yes, the delta is it's pretty known fact. Like a 0.3 delta or higher is going to be exponentially higher probability of that option expiring in the money. Support and resistance will have some effect on that, but usually the options market's going to follow the daily deviations. If you pay attention to the SIGS analysis style, he's all about those daily deviations. And if you just have a deviation chart up, you can see where the range is. So oftentimes you'll see a 0.3 delta, one deviation either side of the median. You'll see delta fall off outside of that deviation. You'll see it fall off dramatically. So it'll go from like a 0.3 to like a point. I like to go all the way out to like 0.08, and then out here you'll see like a 0.04, depending on what time you got left in the options contract. But typically they'll follow the deviation as far as the expected move goes, and that's where you get that probability from looking at delta. Yeah, it also is the measurement of the underlying for every dollar move, and that's the other part of the equation. And it also depends a lot about how much time you have in that contract. So yeah, it's always an approximation, and it's always going to have a lot more to do with the standard deviations than anything, believe it or not. And like even on a weekly chart, you get those 45 days to expiration. You trade within the devs. Pretty accurate typically. All right, well, we came back, we set up our double bottom, we made a push, went just beyond R1 to target one, rejected it first. Oftentimes you'll see this happen. It'll come back and test R1 for support, and it just did. Now it's bouncing back above it. You can get one more extension into the next price target, which is 383.75, from this move after that test. This is where that 8 period is a lot of fun. That 8 period tells you if it's going to hold up or not. So if you've seen candles sit on or above that 8 period, usually you're good for the move. Not always, but usually.
Not always. Inverted hammer there with a little wiki on the top, 1, 2, 3, but it's got to get past that 383.34 area now.
Right. Inverted hammer to boot.
Yep.
Off that 8 period.
But it could, converted hammers are nice too.
This is where that 10-second chart's very useful because you can see exactly what this is going to do, whether it's going to break or make right here.
Right here. And let's see what the 10-second chart is telling us. Me like it. It's got a double bottom too.
Yep.
Are you looking at it?
Oh, the 10-second? No.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were looking at it. It's got a double bottom too.
I'll throw up a 5-second.
I bet you it's on there somehow.
Yeah, right there. 1, 2. Very short trend.
But, for me, here's another thing. I use that single moving average. And so we've been in a bear flag, right? Bear trend. And we hadn't got back above that moving average, that big bull bar on the 5 minute from, 10 minutes ago.
Right.
That gave us that double bottom. Well, it stopped at the moving average. And then the next candle opened up and went into it and then closed, actually opened below it and then closed below it. So we're back into those wiki areas right below that on the 5 minute, the top of that double bottom look.
There's a pile of dojis on a 1 minute chart, and then you got the 5 minute chart at the first deviation, threatening to reject it.
And if you were trading off that 30-minute chart, you'd been waiting a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Wondering if that morning star is going to form or not. It doesn't look like it. Okay.
Not anymore. What is there, about 8 minutes and some change left in that bar on the 30?
Yeah.
A lot can happen in 8 minutes, and if it hits
That's
380,
true.
380.15, it would be a bar spinner bar, or actually 380 even. Good lord, that'd be a fast move here for well, 8.5 minutes. But I've seen
Well,
it. We've
It's
lived
coming
it.
back now. Let's see.
The market can
You
be
still
that
got a few
volatile, but
minutes.
this time of day it's typically not. This time of day usually it's going to grind sideways, burn as much time as possible, and pretty much F every options gambler out there.
That's right. It's gonna screw everybody out there in the options world.
Yeah,
That's what it's trying to do.
this is what
But
option selling is all about.
yeah, yeah, that's where you do that, and this is where the futures are great.
Yes.
There's lots of trades here in the futures. I'm just taking my time. So, descending channel on the 10-second. You got a descending channel on the 1 minute too.
Oh, I'm taking my time. Sorry, good tunes.
But look at all those wicks on that 1 minute up top. Now, here's the thing: it can still pop.
Yes.
That red hammer on the 1 minute just now.
Yep.
I don't know where your fast stochastics are, but
It's slightly
I-
bearish, slightly bearish divergence, but it just touched back to a merge
we're still
or
in
convergence.
bull territory on the CCI.
There we go. I'll stand that FSTO up real big for you. Now we got deviation or divergence.
Well, that red hammer didn't get much help from the next candle, but let's see how it closes.
Right. 382.60 is the bear target, but I don't think they're going to quite walk it with that candle. Nope. Close.
Still. See, it's showing me trending on the woodies, and I've got green, blue. I got pretty colors that I like to see. So this could pop back up. Could. I'm gonna watch, because that wick I don't like.
Yeah, that wick looks pretty devious
Wicket?
right there. Yeah,
It's a wicked pisser.
right under that 8 period. Close that, and it's curtains for that move. It'll go right back to the next control bar. That'll go to the second deviation, 382.28 currently is where that stands.
Now, let's see. I'll give you a little more. I'm enjoying this, Jeremy.
Oh, this is awesome. I love
This
talking
is-
price action, man.
Well, it's calming.
It is. That's my bag, baby.
That's my bag, baby. Let me go look at the 15 minutes, see if I can do this. I'm just going to give it to you in chat. I'm going to use my 5 minute because I think we're coming down. Oh, yeah.
I think we got this.
There is a area. Shoot. I know how to do it. Yay!
There we go. Go, go,
Just
Gadget
takes me a
Bears.
second.
Please snap that 382 so I can get paid today. That'd be freaking hilarious if that that deep in the money credit spread expires worthless. Oh, I'll be doing the happy, happy, joy, joy dance all the way to the bank.
I'm going to put a picture in chat, so if you're in Discord and you're in the voice, you'll understand it better. Than if you're not and you just see it. If you just see it, you're not going to know what the heck it is. So I'm putting the picture in chat. This is my MES chart. I drew a little arrow, and I drew an arrow to highlight that little box there where you see those wicks
Yep.
in that area. And you'll see, if you follow it to the right, you'll see that's the area that it was trying to find that was resistance, where it
Right.
was support before, and now it's resistance. So, we still could break through that. We still could have a double bottom, but it just doesn't look that way right now.
It's looking less likely, but right now the 1 minute chart's threatening a quick short-term reversal to come back and test the 8 period. About 382.70, possibly.
My point in this is, if you look at that, you'll see that that single 20 EMA, which is yellow, that where I start that box is where I call the in between, right? And I talk about that. You could go to the left of that box and you'll see that there's two the red candle is a pivot basically. You can see a red candle and a green candle. The red candle slams, opens with no wick and slams back down. But that in between, if you follow it all the way to the right, look, that's where we are. And so that's why I like looking for those wicks. That's why I like looking for those in betweens, and it helps me gauge sentiment.
We got that 5-minute Busby right there too. That's cool.
Yeah. I do really like price action. Thank you, Bullish Bears.
Oh, dude, it's the bee's knees, I tell you.
When I go by again, the reason I like the price action is because being a professional musician for many, 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 many years, making a living at it, which is rare for people to do, by the way. I'm not being cocky. I'm just, it's the truth.
It's true.
And
There's
so,
a lot of people that
but I
don't make
bought
it.
houses on my music. So, the thing that you learn in music is when you're learning a song, you use your ears. Don't
Right.
pay attention to what's written out in front of you if somebody gives you a chart. Pay attention to it, but use your ears because your ears are going to tell you exactly what's going to happen in that song. If you're sitting in with an improv guy, no matter what you're playing, if you know your patterns, you know what the notes are going to do, and you use your ears, you can follow the leading tones. The chart, price action to me is the same, except now I'm using my eyes to see what those notes are. I'm using my eyes to follow the chart, note for note, and it works. It works really great, and that's why I like it. I like it more than anything else. But that's my style. Somebody might want to do a different style. You might be a fundamentalist, and go good for it. That's good for you. I'm happy for you. But I'm a price action guy, and that's more my style than anything.
Everybody's got their own way to trade, and it's
Right.
funny because you get so many different variations of technical analysis. Like I'm always evolving too. I'll go and I'll be hooked on teaching with like Bollinger Bands and the 8 period and the 20 period like I always do. Then I'll go and switch to these out of the blue. This became available, these standard deviation channels. We can teach with those too.
Yeah, I love it.
No matter what style of technical analysis works for you, just know that they always tend to end up, at least loosely, at about the same conclusion. And it also depends on the time frame you're trading too. I mean, every time frame is going to have the same price action, but there's different ways to look at that price action where you can come up with conclusive targets for your trading. So it all comes out in the wash, and oftentimes every style comes to the same conclusion, at least roughly. Anyway, I'm going to sign off the YouTube. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Like or subscribe. Ring that
Yes,
bell.
exactly. Subliminally say that. Just let that go in the background. Ring the bell. Come see us. Tell your friends.
Ring that bell.
And if you hang out with us long enough on the YouTube channel, you might come to really like what we do in our membership with our Discord channel, where we go and we do this all day, or at least most of the day. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Have a great one.